I mean it more in like a funny magic way, right? I get heavy sometimes, right? And like I said, like everything's a magic. Everything's a miracle, you know? So everything matters. And I'm gonna get a little heavy, a little kind of dark, so I gotta lighten the mood. I gotta lighten it up. Wait, how's it go? Yeah, technology, technology. This is like $2 technology, total miracle. I would have been cast upon a pillar 1,000 years ago for wearing what my betters have made. My betters, including people who probably made 2 cents an hour putting this thing together, who are my betters. If people only knew who our betters were. Everybody works real hard. Everybody has a job. Work for pleasures free from pain. Work to get back home again. Everybody has a job. Everybody works real hard. Work for God's below above. Work for what we need, what we want, what we love. It needs a lot of work. Um, okay. Like I said before last time, and I have to remind myself, I have to give what I have to give, and it's not like anything is mine. People talk about, reading primary sources, like Aristotle, right? You read Aristotle, and he's like the biggest name dropper of all time. It's just like bling, 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 bling. Shit, you can't read. So there is no primary source. Go all the way back to where, right? And when I say things, I'm not trying to name drop. If anything, I'm trying to give reference, some connection. But yet, I watch stuff all the time where I have no idea what the references are. I watch stuff by, like, people who talk about, like, computers and stuff. I don't know shit about all that. I barely know how to use mine. I barely know how to use my phone. People talk about this app, that app, this app, that app. I don't know about nothing. I'm pretty much full-fledged YouTube, Pretty much, Not to mention the fact that just about everything today is going to be obsolete in another 1,000 years anyway. And that's what's important. I was talking before about work. What's work, what's work, what's work, and I should remind myself that I'm working. And that it may all come to nothing. like so many lives. And in that way, I'm no different than anyone else. But I'm going to put my heart in it just in case. To be perfectly honest, and I'm sorry for saying it this way, I'm sorry for the way it sounds, and I'm sorry, but I already know I'm on the radar. I mean, we're all on the radar. If you're a human being, if you're if you're a human being, if you're that kind of soul, you're on the radar. It's just whether you know it or not. I know I'm on the radar. So, talking about infinities, talking about rituals. I feel bad about the way I talked about rituals last time, but I'm going to leave it. It sounded, I mean, it's a hard subject. And there are bad, just strictly bad things that are outside of the scope of what I was talking about. And even things within the scope of what I was talking about are bad. But move away from that for a second. Okay, infinities. And I don't know, because I'll talk about calculus or Leibniz, but and I took calculus 1. I took it 2.5 times. So I get it a little bit. But I've done more in the scope of history and philosophy of science. History and philosophy of math. I've done probably a little bit more in that direction. And that's important too, because that's the mythos. Or it's related to it. Everything has to make sense. Everything. Because there are so many numbers to look at. Looking at the other things can help narrow down what to look at. There are millions of scientists, right? Back in 1900, there were, if we assume Einstein had it right? A lot of people say he didn't. But certainly, he had a breakthrough that is accepted popularly. So that's something. Love him, hate him, however you feel. Same with Edison or Tesla and all that. Same with Edison. Love him, hate him. He had a breakthrough. So in some sense, it's an advancement. There might be a nefariousness to it, but even that nefariousness is a kind of advancement. So it's kind of cloudy the way I'm talking about it, but alright. I just got to get back for a minute to where I was thinking before that made me press this button because I didn't want to because I'm so tired. But I had to do this. Hammerhead shark. Hammerhead shark, monads, infinities, numbers, convergence, divergence, souls, multiverse, I'm just trying to jog my memory. And I don't have very much time. I only have 25 minutes. Uh-oh. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna have to jam it out. See if it works. So okay, I have to remind myself. I'm just talking to me as if I were talking to me. I'm not gonna edit or think of the audience. I'm just gonna think about the way I was talking to myself. Like the whole deal with Leibniz and the monad, and the monad is related back to, it's given credit, like the monad, that Leibniz, because Leibniz wrote the monadology, Leibniz did the whole deal with inventing calculus alongside Newton, all that kind of thing. That relates back also to Torricelli and Cavalieri and Hobbes and the dude who Hobbes had a fight with, who was the head of the Royal Society for a while. I forget his name right now. That whole deal. But then, after that, Leibniz. Newton, etc. Never mind what they were really dealing with. Never mind preserving zeros in calculations because of what's lost between differentiation and integration. Because your C, so to speak, in a quadratic, your C, your coefficient of zero, essentially. Or maybe not, but your coefficient of the first power is lost. We need to preserve that. Just like we need to preserve ones to powers. Also, because 1 over 1 equals 1, 1 times 1 equals 1, but 1 to the 0 cannot be divided. But if we stick with that storyline of the monad is coming from, I think Homer. I might have that wrong, but that the monad was mentioned in Homer, and not accounting for everywhere else that it was mentioned, not accounting for the Chaldean oracles, not accounting for all the places in which the soul has been spoken of, not accounting for all the Greek words that could mean soul, not accounting for all the ways in every language that the soul and spirit are misconstrued. And that's the thing with infinity, and thinking of the universe as being infinite, or a multiverse of infinite universes. But yet, these are all mathematicians and physicists who are using integrals, who are using differentiation, who are using calculus, as it's come to be known, as it's come to be used and practiced, even though mathematics, that's the thing about, because of how long ago calculus was created, and because engineering has been the primary use of mathematics of the last however many years, what we call mathematics has taken on an engineering aura, or the narrative of mathematics is really an engineering, and it's not even a good engineering mathematics, but it's been a practical engineering mathematics that has taken hold of the last couple hundred years. Still to this day, mathematics were created in a time where, one, many mathematics had been lost, and two, the advancements in technology, because it's like when they say, and I got this from Black Pen, Red Pen the other day, it's like when they say, if you have 1 over root 2, rationalize the the denominator. But the whole reason for that, not that that was the rational thing to do, but that made the calculation easier when you were trying to divide. So it was practical, but it's not rational. In a sense, 1 over root 2 is more rational than root 2 over 2. It's just less calculable. Though calculation is practical, it means something, and it means something in the world, so it's really super important. Anyway. So dealing with these infinities of the infinite universe or of the multiverse and these event horizons, right? Because you have the event horizon of the singularity of the black hole, and then you have the event horizon of the moment, of the event, of the interaction. Like scientifically or whatever. Event. It means something in that narrative. So we think of this multiverse, or we think of these, all these different versions of me. No. Because we forget that the whole point of calculus is that we create these infinities to come up with a number. That the infinities collapse. That the event horizon is reached or breached. Souls. All human souls are important. Why? Because of their capacity for calculation. Because of their capacity for influence. Because of these. Because of what we can do between this and this. Ment, mind. Man, ment, manus, hand. Between the mind and the hand. What we can do. Good works. The omega point is the collection of souls. The omega, or the alpha, is the first soul in the structure of the ether, the plenum, of the undifferentiated, unextended field of perfect mathematics. The first thought, the first point in this matrix all collapsed upon one thing before movement. The first movement was, or the first differentiation of a point was, I am. The movement became, am I? I am. An awakening. I am. Am I? The thing is, the answer is already preceded by the question, because the I am precedes the am I. However, the question creates doubt, which sets everything alive. The am I is free will that sets this hyper-saturated plenum, all condensed within one point, singularity, mind, monad, monad with a capital M, we're the monads with the little m's, or vice versa, sets the whole thing on fire, engages all of existence as we know it, us regular folk. Before you were I am. I am the Alpha and the Omega, yes. But that first I am, so to speak, that first I am is the Alpha and is there in the Omega with all of us. Every soul along the way, every rock particle, every gas electron, every boson, every fermion, every quark, every human, every dog. All dogs go to heaven. Everything goes to heaven. All horseshoe crabs go to heaven. All crawfish go to heaven. All tigers go to heaven. All pumas. However, not every soul reaches the Omega point clean. Not every soul reaches the Omega point preserved. The Omega point is a harmonic. If you're into music and harmonics, there are a lot of different E's, right? So what we could think of as an E, and I'm not saying this is an E, or whatever note, like, so there's a note, and there's an octave higher, and there's an octave lower. I'm not sure if I can do an octave lower, right? But you could think of the Omega point as actually the center, and that's one of the interesting things too to think about a married space-time, is we always think of the Big Bang as happening way back. But we also all the time think of the Big Bang as happening in the middle of space. That all space itself, not just matter in space, but all space itself exploded from the Big Bang in the center of space. Which we say the Earth isn't, even though the only part of the universe that we have any way to perceive is a perfect sphere around the Earth. But, I mean, that we can perceive. And what is more powerful that we know of than our own perception? Something to think about. But if we could say the same thing about time, but that's the thing, we always talk about 4 dimensions instead of 6, just saying. But what if the Big Bang happened also in the center of time? What if we haven't gotten to the center of time yet? Think about this. What if the Big Bang hasn't happened yet? Something to think about. How much time I got? A little bit. Man, I'm going to kill my phone like this one of these days. So it's like a harmonic. So like if you have a certain note, ba, and then you have a higher note, ba, and you have a lower note, ba, I can't do it, but, or if, okay, wait, if you have a note, ba, and you have a higher note, ba, and you have a lower note, wait, ba, ba, I'm not sure if I'm doing my octaves right, but like if you consider the Big Bang or the alpha point, that middle tone, if you take an octave in, well, and that's the funny thing about octaves too, right? Like, because if I go in my bass line, then like my octave's going to be over here, but my other octave's going to be over here, and then my other octave's going to be over here, and then my other octave's going to be over here, kinda, right? If you play the guitar, you know the way the fretboards are, how octaves go. It's like half, 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 double, 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 double. But that's the way we can think of the Omega point. The alpha, I'm the alpha and the Omega. The alpha is that first tone. It's that first lit monad. It's that first thought. It's that first thing. I am. Am I sets off the whole fucking string, and the string goes essentially forever. But but it stops at a certain point. The answer to the question precedes the question. Yes, I am. So the omega point is how many nodes we hit along the way, and that is us. We are those nodes along the way. And if we don't answer the call, we don't get included in the omega point. We still exist as souls, as the infinite progression of potentiality of nodes. We're still there, but we have no memory, we don't recall, we don't get to be there. It's an analogy. Which is why, when the omega point comes, we are meant to be there. Hammerhead sharks are not meant to be there. You know, I watched this video of this dude who was doing deep sea fishing in a kayak, and he said, why I'll never do deep sea diving in a kayak again. Dude's in a fucking kayak, hammerhead sharks just coming at him from every side, and he's just like wham, wham, wham with his oar. And it went on for a long time. He must have whacked that fucker fucking million times in the head. People talk about, oh, circle of life, this or that. No. Those are the bad dream. Where do hammerhead sharks come from? Now, if you're thinking, and again, I'm sorry I can't describe this fuller at this time. I'm hoping that my entire channel answers this. You know, if you're not getting where I'm going from here to there in this argument, watch my entire channel. I wouldn't necessarily even recommend it. I couldn't do it. It would be horrifying. But the accumulated error of our free will. Because there's the I am, and then there's the am I. The answer to am I is either yes or no. In so many philosophies and arguments around the world, yes and no are given equal weight. In fact, there are many predominant philosophies in the world, which is one of the reasons for the uprisings of the chaos around the world, that gives no the predominant answer. I am precedes am I. It is not I think therefore I am. It is I am. You cannot think if you were not. So let's get that fucking straight. I've got a little bit of time. I'm trying to condense this. Yes and no of am I is unequally weighted. The accumulation of no's creates the secondary form, the secondary thought form, the asymmetric cymatic. We say no, 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 no. No is wrong because yes precedes the no. All of us saying no is what creates the interference patterns in eternity that give life, and not just us as people, every soul. It's just our yeses are so much more powerful. Our no's are very powerful too. But our yeses are so much more powerful I am. You are. So much more powerful than all the no's. Unfortunately, to actually make this shit happen, a lot of the yeses need to understand the no's. And what I'm saying, for instance, is all of our just eating animals, killing animals, killing these other beings, these other souls who are very, very high. You know, animals that we consider so stupid, they are incredibly high up on the soul hierarchy. We have a misdistributed distribution of intelligence. Because from grain of sand to chicken is a way huger gap than from chicken to us. And we distort that with the way we live our lives. And all of that butchery and all of that killing is what informs the thought forms. It's not just us who started it. We didn't start the fire. Because the question, am I, created the fire of fear that created so much of existence. But every time something affirmed that it was, every time a prophet, a sage, or just a regular, everyday fucking person, whether they made it in the news or not, you know, for every Rosa Parks that we know of, there's a billion we don't, including you. The omega point is that number that the calculus will come to, that will describe the area beneath a curve, that will hit a point otherwise unhittable. There is where we will meet. We'll all be there, but we won't all remember if we don't make the right choices to get there. If you don't work for that point. But again, it depends what we mean by work. And I'm not saying I'm there, because I'm not. But I've been there. And I'm not saying that to brag, because trust me, it's no bragging matter. My life kind of sucks. As much as I have, as much as I'm blessed, like, to be honest, my life really sucks. But fuck all that. It doesn't suck as much as living in the ocean. Pretty damn good compared to that. I ain't getting whipped by a master every day. Metaphorically, in my own way, economically, yeah. But I ain't getting beaten down into the dust every day, you know. So I have to remind myself of that. All right, out of time. Infinity is a number most of the time.